My male colleague went on a power trip, so I helped him find his gag reflex. Travis was the biggest woman hater I'd ever seen, and I just don't mean that he made sexist jokes or forgot our names. I mean it like he treated women's workspace and belongings as his personal property. He'd moved a colleague's desk supplies into the men's bathroom as a prank, and sat in Emily's chair during her maternity leave, then refused to move when she returned. The first time he targeted me, I found him sitting at my desk eating my homemade lasagna, while showing my project files to management as his own work. He looked up with sauce on his chin and said I needed to work on my seasoning, then told me to prove the files were mine when I protested. When I reported it to HR, they suggested that sharing food builds team culture, and maybe I was being unfriendly, which is when I learned his uncle sat on the board of directors. After that, Travis's behavior escalated. He started deleting my presentations hours before meetings, changing my calendar invites so I'd miss important calls, and taking credit for my ideas in emails that conveniently CC'd management. He would stand behind me at my computer, breathing on my neck while supposedly checking my work. And when I objected, he'd tell anyone within earshot that I was probably on my period and couldn't handle constructive feedback. The lunch stealing became his daily ritual, where he'd eat my homemade meals at my desk while I was in meetings, going through my drawers and leaving notes rating my cooking skills. The breaking point came during a major client presentation about my campaign ideas that I'd worked on for months. Travis walked past my laptop and accidentally spilled his coffee all over it, destroying my presentation materials just 5 minutes before the meeting started. Then, as I was panicking, he smoothly stepped in to help by presenting my ideas from memory as his own work. When I tried to correct him in front of the clients, he apologized for my emotional outburst and assured them he could handle the pressure even if I couldn't. Management later thanked him for saving the account while suggesting I take some time to work on my professionalism. That evening, I returned to my desk to find Travis going through my purse, holding my anxiety medication in his hand. When he saw me, he said, "Wouldn't it be a shame if upper management were to find out you're so unstable that you need medication?" His words made me go over the edge, and although I didn't expose him, I decided to do something that would hurt him on an even deeper level. I studied Travis's patterns obsessively and discovered his compulsion for stealing women's lunches was about more than food. It was his daily power trip, asserting dominance by consuming what we'd created and invading our personal space. He specifically targeted elaborate homemade meals and literally couldn't resist them. But more importantly, I remembered overhearing him in the men's bathroom nearly gagging when someone mentioned buying tampons for their girlfriend. Travis was one of those men whose toxic masculinity made him violently squeamish about anything related to female biology, and that's exactly what I would use to hurt him. I started bringing the most elaborate lunches I could create, gourmet sandwiches and homemade pasta that looked absolutely irresistible. As expected, Travis couldn't help himself and continued his daily theft ritual. The beauty was that I never needed to put anything disgusting in the food, because the psychological torture would be far worse than any actual contamination. During the first week, I simply planted seeds by mentioning my special diet within Travis's earshot, and by the second week, I made sure to accidentally show a fake video of me collecting my discharge to a female coworker when Travis was nearby. His face turned green, but he still didn't connect the video to the food, so I waited another week before delivering the killing blow. When someone mentioned intermittent fasting and another discussed keto, I enthusiastically pulled out my phone and showed everyone my video while making direct eye contact with Travis, explaining how I'd been adding my menstrual blood to everything I cooked for the past 2 weeks because the iron content was incredible. Travis's face transformed from confusion to realization to absolute horror as he processed that he'd eaten my lunch that very morning, a beautiful potpourri I'd made sure he watched me pack. I cheerfully added that I'd also been incorporating my pumice stone shavings for extra keratin, and Travis shot up from his chair and ran to the bathroom where everyone could hear him retching violently. He took a week of sick leave, and when he returned, he couldn't look at me without his face turning green. Travis's misogynistic comments stopped completely because he couldn't mock women anymore without remembering what he'd eaten.